Welcome to the Rare Earth Exchanges podcast, where power, politics, and the world's most coveted materials collide. Rare earth elements power the backbone of tomorrow's most critical technologies. With China dominating global production, the US and its allies must align strategically to ensure a stable future. This urgency prompted tech entrepreneurs Daniel O'Connor and Dustin Olsen to launch Rare Earth Exchanges, a news and insight platform built to equip stakeholders and decision makers with the tools and intelligence needed to reduce dependency and build prosperous resilience. Let's get into it.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Rare Earth Exchanges podcast. You've got me, Dustin. I'm joined by Daniel, and we have a special guest, Nitin Gupta from India, and we're excited to hear all that he's working on. So, Nitin, thank you so much for joining the show today. To kind of just get us started, we'd love just to hear a bit of your background, what you're working on today, and yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, first of all, Dustin, Daniel, pleasure to be here. It's really nice to be able to talk to your audience and speak about the work that we are doing at Attero. My personal background, I did my bachelor's in electrical engineering from IIT Delhi, which is the premier engineering college in the country. Worked as a signal processing engineer, basically designing chipsets for mobile phones, home access devices in India and US. Did my MBA from NYU Stern School of Business, and then went back to India to start Attero with Rohan, who's my co-founder. And that's sort of a brief background about myself. In terms of the work that we are doing, Daniel and Dustin, Attero is a leading technology player in the critical mineral space globally. We have today more than 46 granted global patents on various recycling technologies developed by us in India. Patents are across US, Europe, and Asia, including China. We're also the only company in the critical minerals recycling space in the world to generate carbon credits per ton of waste recycled. And to give you a brief snapshot, we today recycle all kinds of electronic waste, ranging from, let's say, your CFL lamp to your refrigerator or air conditioner and everything in between, mobile phone, laptops, what have you. We recycle rare earth magnets. We recycle lithium-ion batteries. We recycle solar panels, right? What we extract is 22 plus pure metals, including gold, silver, palladium, copper, aluminum, tin, zinc, including, let's say, dysprosium, neodymium, praseodymium, and sort of GD, including lithium carbonate, cobalt, nickel, graphite, manganese, that we put back in the circular economy ecosystem. As a company, we're the largest player in India by any metric, and with the best technology for critical minerals recycling globally. Profitable, cash flow positive, growing 100% year on year, backed by marquee investors, largely US-based shareholders, Dustin and Daniel. I'll stop there. Much more to unwrap, but we'll go over the conversation.
Yeah, that's impressive. It's very impressive. I think Attero. Let's talk about the concept. How did you and Rohan come up with the concept? What was that light bulb moment? Where were you at, and how did it come together? And how did you first start it?
So Daniel, Rohan was working at SAP in Bangalore, and I was in New York. So Rohan had an old laptop which he didn't know what to do with. So Atero's journey essentially started with the question of what happens to end-of-life devices in the lifespan, right? And when we dug deeper, we did realize that this sits in the intersection of technology and sustainability, which are the core DNAs of the company today. So that's how the idea got sparked. We obviously raised the first round of capital from Draper Fisher Jefferson, DFJ, and India, US-based venture capital firm called Kalari Capital. We started doing R&D and started building the market and the plant, recycling plant, and the collection infrastructure alongside Daniel.
Very, very impressive. And what year was that you both started that?
This was in 2008.
Okay, that's right. Okay, 2008. Now, if we look at is the core mission today, it's not just rare earth, it's a series of sustainability criteria and measures, correct?
Yes. So all critical minerals, rare earths are part of critical minerals. So anything to do with critical minerals, our basic concept, Daniel, is that today mining is among the most polluted industries in the world, right? So if there is a way that we can replace part of mining, and there is a way to do that by urban mining, which is all the discarded scrap stuff that is available, if we can live that in a reasonable manner, recycle them using technology, extract these metals, put them back in the circular economy, that ways we reduce the dependence on mining, much more sustainable, and it's local. It doesn't need to be international. It does not need to cross borders. It's completely local and self-dependent, Daniel.
Very important. Very important. Now, can we talk, to the extent you can we talk about your technology? Like, we're surveying different types of approaches to urban mining and recycling of rare earths and critical minerals. How does your firm fit into that ecosystem, and what differentiates at a high level your approach, your methods, your technology?
So 4 critical differentiating factors, Daniel. 1, our recovery rates from output to input are best in class globally. As an example, from end-of-life lithium-ion batteries, today we are recovering more than 98% of pure battery-grade cobalt, pure battery-grade lithium carbonate, graphite, nickel. Global averages, Daniel, are around 80%, right? Similarly, if you look at rare earth magnets, from rare earth magnets, we are recovering more than 98% of neodymium oxide, praseodymium, dysprosium, and GD. World averages or global averages are less than 75%, right? Similarly, e-waste, right? So first advantage is recovery efficiency, which is broadly around 25 to 30% better than anybody else in the world. Second is a modular approach to recycling. So our typical recycling plants are profitable at, let's say, a 1,000 ton per annum level. In terms of electronic waste, are profitable at 100 tons per annum level for lithium-ion batteries, are profitable at 100 tons per annum level for rare earth magnets, and so on and so forth, right? Again, globally, if you speak to multiple companies, that number is 10 times our numbers. Third, our capex per ton is lower by 40% compared to anybody else in the world. And here I'm doing an apples to apples comparison, Daniel. We are in fact looking at setting up a plant in US and Europe, and these are those numbers. It's not in India capex compared to US capex. Fourth, our OPEX is lower. And last point is our TAM is higher because we're recycling all kinds of stuff. So specifically in lithium-ion batteries, we're the only company in the world recycling LFP battery chemistry and extracting lithium carbonate and graphite and profitably doing that. Most other lithium-ion battery recycling players are focused on cobalt and nickel-rich batteries. Similarly is the case of magnets. Similarly is the case of e-waste, Daniel.
Very impressive. Very impressive. So basically, from that standpoint, you're truly emerging as a global leader in this space. Now, I want to get into, at least on the rare earth side, only about 1%. This is the number we continuously run into, derived from recycling today. Is that a number that you've heard, and do you agree with that number?
Today, so depends on which metal you're talking about. Rare earths, for example, less than 1%, completely agree. But take a look.
Wow. So to date, with the under 1% with the rare earths, is that just a function of maturity, that we're early in the life cycle of these different approaches? And also, I wanted to ask you, Nitin, about China. You would think, given China's control of this space, they've got 90% of the processing, and they seem to be big into recycling and ESG, at least that's what the news tells us over there, the companies. Why isn't China pouncing on this to become a leader? This is a fascinating topic. I mean, China has made all sorts of moves over the past 20, 30 years to monopolize rare earth processing and magnet production. They know that the recycling is coming. Why on earth have they not leveraged their position to control that space?
So a couple of things, Daniel. First is rare earth mining or processing or refining is not that clean an activity from an environmental perspective in China as is it made out to be. Okay. In fact, it involves a lot of events and so on and so forth, right? Second, China has a dominant position today. So in rare earth sort of recycling, that's not their focus area because they didn't think that field could basically disrupt their pole position, right? Having said that, even if you look at as a parallel, look at lithium and battery recycling, right? China has the largest capacity for battery recycling in the world today. They also have the largest capacity for refining of lithium carbonate in the world today. So they're building that recycling capacity in fields where they feel that other countries can catch up. Rare earth, they're still to build. Okay. But I'll give you another example here, Daniel. Even in battery recycling, and we know a lot of Chinese companies because they continue to visit us from that perspective. Nobody in China today is recovering graphite by recycling end-of-life lithium batteries. Okay. The reason again is graphite as an element has a very low economic value compared to cobalt and nickel. So they didn't focus on it, right? From that perspective, Attero's tech is better. Similarly, from a rare earth angle, They didn't think that it can happen so fast.
Understood. That's fascinating. Fascinating. So, would you say for Attero, would you say that your patents are your key differentiator? And what does your patent portfolio look like? And what percentage of your secret sauce is trade secret?
So our patent portfolio is 46 granted global patents, 200 applied for. There is, I would say, 20 to 30% of our process is trade secrets and 70% is patented, roughly. So apart from technology, Daniel, for a successful recycling business, the collection network is critical as well, right? If you're not able to collect these devices, however good the technology might be, you'll get no output, right? In India, we run two digital platforms. One is called Sell Smart and the other one is called Metal Mandi, right? Sell Smart, essentially consumers can go online and we'll pay them a price for their end of life devices and we'll pick it up from their home. Okay. In Metal Mandi, we're aggregating these sort of scrap dealers across the country, providing them transparent and fair pricing for different categories of scrap and a complete traceable supply chain. Okay. At the back end of both of these, Daniel, there is a very strong AI based pricing engine that's running. Okay. I'll give you a further example. Let's say, a magnet that is part of a speaker phone in a Samsung phone, right? Speaker in a Samsung phone. That is a different NdPr concentration compared to a magnet that is part of a compressor in, let's say, an LG air conditioner. That's got a different NdPr concentration. So when in Metal Mandi, you see the pricing of these magnets for various scrap dealers, it basically picks up at the back end the NdPr pricing, where's the image, and then puts out a price. All of it is happening automatically.
And that's brilliant, Nitin. I have to give you guys credit. You've really thought through the whole life cycle, and these both Sell Smart and Metal Mandi are pretty ingenious, I have to say. Are you there, Nitin?
Yes.
Okay, so I would imagine. Let me ask me that: can you take those softwares and license those to other parts of the world?
We are
to other groups.
in the process of doing that, Daniel. Very soon we'll be sort of launching these in Europe and then the US, Daniel.
Yeah, that's great. How much money capital have you all raised so far total?
So Daniel, till date, we have raised around 25 million US dollars. That's largely come from IFC, which is part of the World Bank Group. That's come from DFJ, TPG. That's another large US-based private equity investor. Last year, we did roughly around $120 million in revenue. Year before that, we did roughly around $60 million in revenue. This year, we're on to do roughly around $250 million in revenue.
Yeah, that's you. You all are on your way to something big. You're going to be one of our new rich friends. That's for sure. Let me ask you this: if you look at the growth trajectory, what do you see as your biggest risk? Like, as you're starting to scale up this operation, what keeps you up?
So Daniel, first, the scale of opportunity and the timing being right is a big sort of advantage plus a big burden as well, right? Given the position where critical minerals industry is globally today, it is incumbent upon all of us, including ourselves, to make sure that we create something scalable, global, and big here. The ex-China strategy has to play out. The world cannot be held hostage to one country deciding on critical mineral supply chain and suddenly deciding they'll stop exports. That's exactly what happened a couple of weeks ago, right?
That's right. That's right.
That scale of opportunity keeps us awake at night, saying, "Are we doing enough? Can we do more?"
Let's talk. And you're a very important company, and that's why we identified you. And I don't think a lot of folks in the United States know who you are yet, but they will soon, thanks to this podcast and all the good work you're doing. Now, sustainability. Let's talk about this carbon credit. It's a very complicated area, but. And of course, with our new administration, we don't have a weather problem anymore. Those are old days. But in the rest of the world, so how does it work? Break it down for a layperson.
So simply speaking, Daniel, the amount of energy used in Atero's processes to extract pure metals, be it rare earth metals or precious metals or base metals or any other critical metal, is significantly lower than the amount of energy used in extracting those metals from a virgin mine. Okay, that difference right. Credits for us, right? Having said that, Daniel, as a company, as a firm, we are not very dependent on monetization of carbon credits. In fact, look at it as a green discount. Today, the gold that we extract is 99% lower carbon footprint than the gold that comes out of mining. The lithium carbonate that we extract is 97 percent lower carbon footprint than what comes out of China, and so on and so forth, right? But we are selling these metals at market prices. We are not extracting a green premium. We're not expecting a green premium. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
It's a sustainability metric to show that the work that we are doing is important for the environment and the society. But from a financial standpoint, as a firm, we stand on our two legs.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense. You're okay. So currently you're at 120 million in revenue about
Yes.
today. Okay. Any plans of going public?
Yes, we are looking to go public in the next 12 to 24 months time.
Okay, good. And how many employees do you have now? I may have asked. Forgive me if I already asked that, but about how many employees do you have right today?
Right now, around 800 people total, Daniel.
Okay, 800. And you're in. Where are you based in India? What city?
Multiple cities. The main headquarters is in Delhi, Daniel.
Okay. Okay. Based in Delhi, and then you're setting up operations in the United States, Europe.
Yes.
What, in terms of, is there anything in terms of, are you looking for partners in these countries? Are there things that you need to do to be successful there that we can help you with on this? Like, are there types of partnerships or opportunities you're looking for?
So, Daniel, we're always open to partners who can help us grow, and we grow together, right? That is always the case. We're interested there. At this point in time, there's no specific answer I can give you for that. Part of the expansion is confidential. We are raising money in the US. We're raising capital in Europe as well. We are in discussions with partners. So I can't give you a specific answer, but we are always open to working with good people, Daniel.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, I think it's very important. I think that another important question, just ballpark, what's your forecast, being conservative but upbeat, in terms of, and especially given your role, your company's role in this process, let's say by 2030, which is 5 years away, 4.5 years away, what percentage of rare earth magnets will be derived from recycled processes, urban mining, etc.?
Okay, so Daniel, in my opinion, we will cross the 50% mark.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow, that's
Yeah, I'll give you a very small example, right? There are magnet manufacturers who are working with us already. We supply them our NdPr oxide, right? The quality of that NdPr oxide is similar to what they get out of virgin mining. There is a material shortage because China is blocking all those materials. So today, if you're a magnet manufacturer out of extra, which is not based in China, you have a tough problem of getting raw materials from making your magnets. Okay, where would you get these raw materials from? So recycling is anyhow coming up the value chain, and as we are scaling up, collecting more and more rare earth magnets, the technology exists to recycle them. It's a matter of scaling up this operation.
Yeah, that's extremely exciting. I mean, if that's even half accurate, in my opinion, that's extremely exciting. What about heavy rare earths? Do you all have experience producing those?
Not right now, but we'll be looking at it very soon. Not right now.
We can share with you that the U.S. government right now is actively looking for sources. So that's something we'll look into just from our research standpoint, the process. Dustin, I think I think this has been incredible. Nitin, I think you and your partner are brilliant, frankly. I think you guys have been visionaries. So that's why we wanted to have you on. We saw when we started this company, we saw what you were up to, and we thought these guys are going to be important in this whole process. Dustin, any sort of final questions or thoughts from your end?
No, I honestly, Daniel, you took the question right out of my brain of how long is it going to take before we start to see meaningful amounts of recycling coming from rare earths. I think just from an environmental standpoint, so we're talking about e-waste, we're talking about recovering some of these critical minerals. Are you doing anything else with the rest of the e-waste outside of that? Are you just going for the critical minerals and leaving the rest, or are you trying to also repurpose the rest of the e-waste?
So all the e-waste that comes for recycling, Dustin, is completely recycled and extracted. So we extract, apart from rare earth, critical minerals, base metals and precious metals and plastics, and all of that goes back into the circular supply chain. Repurposing today is, let's say, 10% of the business. It's a small business, small part of the business, but repurposing, in our opinion, is a critical part of any recycling value chain.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Yeah, I agree with Daniel. This has been a very educational and honestly very exciting discussion in terms of where we're at now and where we're headed in a short amount of time. A lot of people that we talk to here on the podcast, things are not quick. Things do not happen at a fast pace in this industry for many reasons. And so to hear your optimism, your projections over in just the next 5 years is awesome. Like, there's not many words else to describe that. So we would love to have you on the show again at some time in the future, get an update on where you're at, whether it's your IPO, your expansion, whatever it is. We would probably love to have an update from you in the future. Nathan, thank you so much for being with us and sharing some information about what you're working on. And we'll see everyone later.
Thank you, Dustin. It's a pleasure speaking to you guys. Thank you.
Thanks.